thank you for having me today. So I would like to start by sharing with you some statistics here. So the first number is 76,000 students are Indian, and that was in 2016. Now, moving forward to 2021, we have 215,000 students. So you can see the number already tripled. And we saw in one of our invited speakers' presentation today that actually Indian students represent the largest percentage of international students in Canada. Now, putting this into the framework of COVID-19 that hit all of us in a way or another. And if we look where these students come from and the situation in their countries, we can look at some numbers, at some statistics. And here, 1 in 40 residents, Indian residents, they have been infected with COVID-19. This is taken into consideration the poor testing rates in India. So if it's 1 in 40 and they are not actually doing the testing properly or as should be, the real numbers, only God knows. This is another terrifying number here, which is 448,000 deaths. This is the number of people that died up to date due to COVID-19 in India. And again, there is an understate of the true scale of the pandemic in India. It's believed that at least the number is triple in reality. So what does this tell us in a way? There is a huge number of deaths in India. This means an expected death that affected many of the people, relatives, friends that our students know. And this would lead actually to post-traumatic distress disorder. It doesn't mean, that it would happen to every single student, but definitely research evidence shows that an expected death was associated consistently with elevated odds of new onsets of PTSD, panic disorder, and depressive episodes at all stages of the life course. Now, this made me think, did COVID-19 pandemic lead to a mental health pandemic? Is there something that we should do as educators? And this is why I thought about the power of empathy in education as a critical response to COVID-19 post-traumatic effects on international students. And my focus would be in a way on Indian students. Now, does PTSD affect the learning outcomes? So actually research, showed a correlation between the two. So students that are affected by PTSD, they tend, for example, to forget. They have like some memory issues, for example. They could have attention issues, self-esteem issues. Generally speaking, they are more at risk of failure, academically speaking. Now, what is more and more worrying here, the thing that makes the situation more worrisome, is the hesitation and reluctance in international students when it comes to seeking help. The hesitation is particularly higher in students coming from countries like India or Pakistan, where mental health is still considered a taboo. In addition to that, these students have not been in classes long enough to establish their social connections or to get comfortable in asking for mental health related help. Having the cameras turned off during the live sessions and the hesitation in speaking up, articulating in English language are some of the factors also that make the communication even more challenging. So this calls for a paradigm shift for the faculty to become more empathetic and proactive in identifying students who might need extra support. So here, my assumption is, what can we do? So this is the question. What can we do? And I think the first thing is like, what is here empathy? So if we look at the definition of empathy, empathy is the capacity to understand or feel what another person is experiencing from within their frame of reference, the capacity to place oneself in another position. And the thing that makes the difference between empathy and sympathy, there is a TED talk that I really like here, where it makes the comparison between the two as sympathy. Imagine that there is someone in a big hole. So you pass by, you see them, and you start talking to them, and you establish some kind of relationship. You sympathize with them, but you keep your distance, and you're not in a way trying to help, like to be proactive in any way. But if we talk, so that's just sympathizing. But if we talk about empathy, that's when you go down there, you sit next to them, and you try to help them. You listen to them and you try to help them. So this is the proactive approach. So now, technically speaking, what can we do? So my aim actually of this presentation, this is a research in progress that I'm doing, and eventually my aim is to create a guideline for our teachers on how to become more empathetic in their practices teaching, considering what students are going through. And I think the first step is to recognize the trauma. To be aware of the situation, this recognition of what our students are going through is the first step. And we need here to, like within this first step, we need to ensure the emotional, cognitive, physical, and interpersonal safety of our students. So we need to ask ourselves certain questions here. Do our students feel safe in our classrooms? Are they vulnerable? The way we talk to them, the way we write about those deadlines, do we give them enough space that if they need help, they know that we are there for them or not? And that takes us to the next step, which is to foster trustworthiness and transparency through connection and communication among students. And I totally realize that this is so much harder if we are talking about online with turned off cameras and with language barriers and with all that. But we got to be proactive in order to build that connection and communication with our students. So here we need to intentionally facilitate peer support and mutual self-help in our courses. Are our students aware that they could have access to mental health? Can we refer them directly? Can we facilitate it's peer support in a way or another? Can we encourage them to come and to talk to us face to face privately? What can we do here to intentionally facilitate self-help in our courses? And this leads us to promote collaboration and mutuality by sharing power and decision-making with our students. That means even if we are just talking about deadlines or topics that students are going to write essays on, what if we ask our students what they feel comfortable with? Can we give them a bit of that piece of power where they are still able to achieve the learning outcomes, but they feel in a way that they have a say in that learning process instead of just being dictated step by step where they have no say. So these are my thoughts, and I would say there is an urgent need to pay attention to the cultural, historical, and gender issues here. Maybe there is a particular need to pay attention to our female students, to take into consideration the cultural account here. Maybe we need as well to pay attention to the guys, to the males here, because also culturally they are not expected to express their emotions. They are not expected to share how they feel. So here they are like, from a perspective of more vulnerable to a perspective of they have to show that they are strong. Now, the last thing that I would say here as a reflection is how can we help our students in order to have some sense of purpose? Because this is a key in order to overcome PTSD. And to be empathetic is to have that strong sense of purpose, that they have some meaning in life, that there is a tomorrow, that there is hope. So that's my take on this. I just want finally to acknowledge the contribution of Mrs. Iran Tanvir during the development of this concept, and that she has had to withdraw due to personal reasons. And well, I thank you all for listening to my presentations, and I welcome your questions. Thank you.